Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition hits stores tomorrow, and I've got to say, as much of a fan as I am of the original 2011 game, it is kind of a strange candidate for an HD remaster, especially when you consider that it sold quite badly when it came out. And if you go back and look at it, or go back and play it, it's actually aged really well from a visual perspective. All that said, this is a great excuse to go back and play it, and if you've never played Bulletstorm, well, this is the great opportunity. At its core, Bulletstorm is basically, it's this love letter to extremely ridiculously violent, politically incorrect shooters of decades gone. Story is not an important thing here really, and it's certainly not that interesting. The real meat of the game is just relentless murder. It's turning your enemies into bloody paste, and it is fucking wonderful at doing that. You play the very Kurt Russell-esque hero, Grayson Hunt. He's an elite assassin. You end up stranded on this planet that's just full of grotesque mutants, and then you eventually try and seek revenge on General Serrano, the game's villain. The gameplay places an emphasis on frantic, fast-paced, squad-based shooting. Most of the time there's you and two other people shooting your way through the game, and the whole crux of the gameplay loop is that you're encouraged to pull off skill shots. These are like these hilariously gory, over-the-top kills, like you can shoot someone in the throat, you can set them on fire because there's explosive barrels everywhere in this game. You have a thing called a leash. It's like a lasso, basically. You can grab your enemies and you can throw them into electric cables that are everywhere. You can like fling them towards you, so you can kick them off a ledge. You can even kick them into cactuses. There's a bunch of them lying around. It's fucking amazing. It's really addictive as well, and somehow like stops the game from becoming monotonous, even though there's a few times where you think that would actually happen. And basically these skill shots rack up points, which you can then use on pods that are lying around the map to upgrade your weapons and purchase more ammo, and you get increasingly silly weapons as you go along. It's worth saying that if you play this on normal difficulty, it's not very difficult at all. I died like 4 times in the whole playthrough, but it's actually not a bad thing in my opinion. Like, it makes you extremely capable from basically the beginning, and there's no weird mission where your lasso is taken away, or sorry, your leash is taken away, like you would kind of expect. The lack of challenge is mitigated, in my opinion, by the ridiculous amount of fun this game is. It's only 6 hours long, really, if you play it on normal difficulty anyway. The pacing was really good. There wasn't really any moments where I felt like, you know, come on, let's just speed to the end. Because, as I say, meting out Violent Vengeance is so ridiculously fun. And this is, of course, this is the full clip edition that's just coming out tomorrow. It's a new release. It comes with some extras. The main thing, if you complete the story mode, you unlock Overkill Campaign, which allows you to start the game with all of the weapons you've built up previously, all the skill shots as well. So basically from the beginning you can just unleash hell, which I suppose makes the game even easier than it already is. But there is this really cool thing as well, where if you complete every skill shot for a certain weapon, you unlock unlimited ammo for it, which is just, you know, that sounds awesome, and it absolutely is. Then there's other stuff that they've brought back from the first version of the game in 2011. There's Echoes mode, which here it has all the DLC included as well, so it allows you to fight through like 30 levels. They're like small sections of the campaign that are kind of divvied up, and basically you try and use creative kill shots to get a 3-star rating, basically. I mean, it's okay. I think for side content it's fairly uninspired. I didn't play that much of it. It just felt like a kind of copy-paste of the campaign. I think if you're a completionist, you'll have fun with it, but it's not really my thing. There is also like an extra version of Echoes called Ultimate Echoes, which is definitely more enjoyable in my opinion, because it's the same levels, but you have these like ridiculous requirements. Like the first one is you can't use your gun, you have to just use your leash to kill everyone or kick people. And there's loads of other restrictions which make it more challenging, and I think just diversify it a little bit. There's also a 4-player online co-op multiplayer called Anarchy mode, but the servers didn't seem to be working when I received my press code for the game, so I wasn't able to try it out against anyone. I was also kind of disappointed that the remaster didn't have more multiplayer options. Like a co-op campaign would have been fucking amazing, considering as well that large stretches of the game had you teamed with 2 people. And there's not even like a deathmatch mode, which would have been really, really cool, considering how crazy the combat is. And I think the scoring system in the single player would lend itself quite well to multiplayer, so that's a bit of a letdown. Now let's talk about the technical aspects. Full clip edition, very, very rock solid for the most part. The visual game, as I say, is aged very well. It holds up very well, but this is a very sharp, mostly very nice looking upgrade. The textures in particular look really nice, like the vistas look fantastic. Facial animations not so much, they feel a little stuck in the past, but I think that's okay. Overall, I liked what I saw, even if it wasn't this gigantic leap, which is kind of what you shouldn't expect that from a game that only came out 6 years ago. Performance, basically good. There was some stuttering when it's loading, and when you have like 10 plus enemies on the screen, there is definitely some slowdown when there's a lot of explosions going on. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. It's basically okay, didn't really bother me. Sound wise, musical score, absolute shit, can't remember any of it, but the sound effects of the guns are really nice, and the dialogue is well delivered, even if sometimes it feels a little, it's a bit childish, and I think if you're playing this game for long stretches at a time, that might start to exhaust you a bit. And I think the main issue with this remaster, if I have to have one, is it hasn't really done much to address how janky the original game actually is. And I say that as someone who really, really enjoyed the game when it came out. I was kind of hoping they would fix some of the issues, like collision detection is still really bad. So, you have to vault over a lot of walls in this game, and finding the sweet spot to press X or, to leap over it is kind of irritating. And if you double tap X, you can do this awesome slide along the floor. But so often your AI teammates will just walk in front of you and stop you dead, and it's fucking annoying. Maybe that's my fault, I don't know. But okay, there's also like really transparent stuff, like characters will teleport right in front of your face to somewhere else in the room to trigger like the next scripted part of the mission. And then a few times I had really bizarre visual glitches that you just, like, there's been no QA here, clearly this is fucking ridiculous. But at least they did make me laugh, they weren't game breaking by any means whatsoever. So to conclude, right, did this game need a remaster? No, it absolutely did not. Not in any way. You can go back and play the 2011 game and it still holds up really well. That said, there's never, do you need a good excuse to replay a great game with a nice little adjustment to it? The asking price is a little on the steep side in my opinion. In the UK, the physical retail version costs about £35. That's almost like a full AAA price tag. A little on the steep side for me in my opinion. And I mean digitally I think it's about £28 or something, but considering some games actually give you a remaster patch for free, like the BioShock games I believe, I don't know about that. Like, I'd struggle to say go out and buy this game right now. At the same time, if you're really, really into the original game, a dedicated player could easily get 20 hours plus out of this, because you'll play the campaign, you'll probably play it again with the Overkill version, and if you pre-ordered it, you also get this Duke Nukem DLC where you can play for the whole game as Duke Nukem with new dialogue recorded by the voice actor John Son John. But unfortunately I can't comment on that because DLC code for Duke was not provided to me. I don't think it was to really any press, but I mean that's going to add at least another 4 or 5 hours onto the play. And then, of course there's all of the other multiplayer modes that I've mentioned, and Echoes, Ultimate Echoes. I mean the base game is so much fun that it's so self-aware and stupid and fucking brutal that I can easily recommend this game on pure should you play it terms. Whether you're hardcore or whether you've just heard of Bulletstorm like this week. The price is a bit of an issue. I maybe wouldn't buy it right now unless you're really into this kind of thing. These really like old school, absurdly violent shooters. I think you can wait for a rental if you're getting it on consoles, or maybe just wait for a sale like on Steam or something. Overall though, really great fun, a nice blast from the past because I really enjoyed this game in 2011 and I haven't played it since. that's my review. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be here from dusk till dawn.